Good afternoon. This is Ron Mickens, live from Polk County, Florida, Lakeland, Florida. You know the topic, fraud upon the court. We're going to make sure that we are educated on what fraud upon the court is. It is a criminal act. It is a criminal act that is conducted by the officers of the court. And we're talking about the judges and the lawyers. So, you know where we're going. Judge Moore and the 2nd District Court of Appeals. A fraudulent misrepresentation. That's what fraud upon the court is all about. And it starts with Judge Moore and the 2nd District Court of Appeal affirm this fraudulent misrepresentation. I'm going to quote it to you. Though defendants could have been much clearer as to their desire for rescission and their attempts to rescind the contract, defendants are before the court pro se, and the court finds that defendants have made sufficient allegations in their counterclaims and argument before the court to state a cause of action for rescission. Okay? Let me come up with some adjectives. This is outrageous, shocking, it's malicious, it's intentional, it's negligent, it's arbitrary, capricious, it's pretextual, it is fraudulent to the core. Stay with me. You be the judge. This is a trick. Make no mistake about it. This is a trick to get Ron and Gloria Mickens to consent to allowing them to create fraudulent judgments against Ron and Gloria Mickens, the prevailing party. The only way that they can create these fraudulent facts, fraudulent issues, fraudulent claims, fraudulent orders and judgment is to lie, is to misrepresent that Ron and Gloria Mickens desire and sought rescission. That's a lie. I hope you're with me. The only way that they can create these judgments, in other words, they're trying to trick us into authorizing them or licensing them to permitting them to create, fabricate fraudulent orders and judgments, facts, issues, just fraud. And they can only get that, only be able to do that by lying and saying that this is what we essentially desire and sought. You got to remember, Damron Construction Company lost on all counts. They were not entitled to any relief in equity or law because of their fraud. So it has to come from us. Instead of giving us our judgment that we had prevailed on in trial, she's going to replace it with these unsolicited evaluations and this fraudulent material misrepresentation. All she had to do, since Judge Strickland bowed out and refused to do it, this is Judge Strickland's final judgment. This is all she had to do when she replaced Judge Strickland, was to sign it. we had plugged in the specific amount of damages that we were entitled to. And that was all that was left and required to do. The rest of this so-called litigation is fraud. And it's fraud upon the court. Judge Moore and the 2nd District Court of Appeal maliciously misrepresented that we desired rescission. They knew that it was a fraudulent misrepresentation. They knew that it was a trick. Oh, they forced us to rely on it, and we were damaged. That is a fraud upon the court cause of action. Okay. And that is what we are going over today, to prove to you that this is fraud and the judges committed this criminal act, war against the Constitution, treason against the Constitution, interference with interstate commerce. Now, you remember on video 5 that we showed you about this foreclosure. The Stewart Title Guaranty Company have purportedly foreclosed against Ron and Gloria Mickens. Stewart Title Guaranty Company said they're the plaintiff. They got Damron Construction Company, all the Damrons, Debra and Alan Damron, Ron and Gloria Mickens. I got this State Farm Mutual Insurance automobile company, and Daniel Martinez as defendants. Then have Stewart Title of Polk, Elaine P. Canady, and Edith Rewis as third-party defendants. Oh, they're going to disown the agents now, claiming that they're the mortgagee after they've had to pay Chase with insurance proceeds because their hands was unclean, because they encumbered a mortgage based on a fraudulent deed that they knew was fraudulent. Total title failure. Okay. Total title failure. They're not a bona fide purchaser. They can't be filing no mortgage. Who are they going to file a mortgage against? Damron Construction Company? That is their co-conspirators. Are they going to file a company against their own agency? Their own employees and agents? Ms. Canady was their issuing agent. That's the heartbeat of the entire organization. She issued the fraudulent, she induced Chase for a premium. She issued Stewart Title Guarantee policy. This is a fraudulent foreclosure of some fake. You be the judge. Who they going to foreclose on? Can Stewart Title Guarantee Company allege that Ron and Gloria Mickens was the mortgage guy in a mortgage with them? No, we were not in a mortgage with anybody. That we failed or defaulted on a mortgage? No, we were not in a mortgage with anybody. Damron was the mortgage guy. Damron was your co-conspirators. Okay, let me just make sure too. They gave Damron Construction Company a fraudulent judgment also. Say we failed to permit discovery. Oh, George Comstein was a trip. Oh, but he was their man to create all of this fraud. Just the machinery of fraud. Say, we failed to permit discovery because we refused to participate in this rescission. Talking about a court order inspection of property. going to order us to permit Damron to let a contractor come out. No, we wasn't falling for that trick. And he didn't have no jurisdiction. He didn't have no authority. Damron and them ain't had no claim for no cost of no materials and labor. You see the fraud? And check this out now. Can you imagine Stewart Title of Polk, Miss Canady, and Miss Rewis? I know you've heard me say this numerous of times. Who are those people? You guys knew the only time we ever seen these people is when we subpoenaed them to come to court. Who are these people? How can they be foreclosing on us? How can a judge be granting them a mortgage against us? Do you see the fake, the fraudulent judgments? Hang in there with me. You've never seen anything like it. Judge Constein just created all this mess. None of these so-called facts, issues was alleged in no pleadings. I'm explaining this to you now. He ain't had no cause of action against us. Judge Constein just making this stuff up. And he can only make it up by lying and saying, this is what Ron and Gloria Mickens essentially desired and sought. We were the prevailing party. They are turning the losers into being the winners, and the winners into being the loser. That's fraud upon the court. Fraud by the judges. You see that these, just think back, just think. How in the world is Miss Canady and Miss Rewis, false witness of deed, ain't gonna get a judgment against us? Stay with me. It's fraud. And remember, hey, this is a setup. This is a setup. They're getting ready to send the sheriff's SWAT team out to murder us. And they're going to use these fraudulent judgments to justify it. That's what it's for. Don't you see it? The only thing that the public would be exposed to is these fraudulent judgments that they're seeing that this is what we desire. We desire to permit them to create fraudulent judgment, criminal acts against us. I hope I'm making it clear, because we got to wake up and we got to learn something about our constitutional and civil rights. Now, I hope I explained about that fraudulent foreclosure, because if I made that clear, okay, you got to understand that the rest of the judgments are also fraudulent, frivolous, fabricated. So, make no mistake about it. They dropped Damron, too. They dropped him. I got the order right here. Stewart Title Guaranty Company. Say, plaintiff, Stewart Title Guaranty Company, by its undersigned attorney, hereby gives notice of dropping the following defendants from this action: Alan Damron Construction Company, Alan Damron, and Debra Damron. Now, Damron is still claiming that he's the owner, because once he was dropped from the suit, he transferred the property, or they transferred, the Damrons transferred the property to Stewart Title Guaranty Company. So can't you see that if Damron had the ability to transfer the property outside the suit, the court didn't have subject matter jurisdiction over the property. The property is not even a part of the lawsuit. Remember, Two thieves can't sue the other. Okay? Stewart Title done swore up and down to litigate on Damron's behalf in the insurance policy, because they swore up and down that they did a title search and Damron was the absolute owner, fee simple owner of our property. That is a lie. Okay? Now, let me make sure you understand too, because Judge Constein, oh my goodness, stay with me. How can you reverse creating, preparing, executing, witnessing, notarizing, delivering, recording a quitclaim deed? How are you going to reverse fraudulent conveyance, a fraudulent conversion of title, fraudulent encumberment with a mortgage? How are you going to reverse these things? This is what Judge Constein is lying and doing. How are you going to reverse fraudulent inducement, slander of title, false pretenses, building houses under false pretenses, fraud, grand theft, extortion, bank fraud, wire fraud, mortgage fraud, real estate fraud, malfeasance, misfeasance, false acknowledgments, failure to validate signatures, performance of prohibited notary acts, perjury, interference with interstate commerce, conspiracy, organized fraud, scheme to the fraud. All the list just goes on. And remember, the state attorney said, oh, this is an accident. This was a mistake. You gotta be kidding. Stay with me. Okay? Look, this violates the RICO statutes. They created this enterprise. Okay? This, the RICO statute has a criminal and a civil forfeiture provision. So stay with me, okay? This is what it's all about. It's protecting Stewart Title Guaranty Company and Stewart Title Information Service Corporation. They're protecting them. They're covering it up for the blood money. Make no mistake about it. Okay, you've heard me say these things before, but you got to make sure that you understand that our judges got to be held accountable. Now, let me talk a little bit about the Polk County School Board, because this conspiracy was just implemented to destroy Ron and Gloria Mickens. So you know that they had to come after me on my employment. So they're going to deny and deprive me of my life, liberty, and property interest in my employment. So here, what we have, the administrative law judge, results came in 33 months after my termination. The administrative law judge determined that I had been terminated based on a non-factual allegation. Non-existent. No probable cause. School board administrators was not credible. They were not believable. That their conduct was manifold and egregious. That's outrageously bad. Outstandingly bad. Okay? That their conduct was ultra vires, outside the law, without authority, outside the scope of their authority. Misconduct on their part. They should be punished, disciplined. They conducted an uninterrupted sequence of abuse against me. They violated school board policy. You have a progressive discipline plan. When you have a discipline plan or due process procedures in place. They have to be followed exactly. These procedures, progressive discipline procedures, was imperative. It was mandated to be followed in these proper sequences. All of these due process procedures was denied. I was treated unequally. 14 employees outside of my class was given notice hearing and just cause before. I wasn't given notice hearing and just cause before nor afterward. I was maliciously prosecuted, unequal treatment, disparate treatment. Okay. Wasn't given these safeguards. That's a denial of due process. Everything that I just told you. And the school board adopted these findings. These are their findings. I hope I'm making sense. They had no defense. The federal district court judge going to circumvent, here we go again, to extricate or to not hold them liable and responsible for their misconduct, for their violation of my Constitution and civil rights. The EEOC done determined that they have violated my Constitution and civil rights. But here the federal judge, here's the fraud on the court, misrepresented that I had been afforded due process. No. Okay? They required me to undergo psychological testing without a factual basis and without authority. Okay? They perceive me of having a disability. Ladies and gentlemen, these are ultra vires acts outside the law and a denial of due process. Okay? Make no mistake about it. This is fraud upon the court. Now, let me just tell you about our superintendent and the comment that he made about Ron Mickens. And I want to make sure that some of my co-workers hear this. Ms. Killebrew, she was the principal. Ms. Kimbrough, Mr. Podusky, Ray Hunt, Evan Pinter, Officer Nixon, Ms. Hartwell, Ms. Wilkerson, Ms. Vincent, Ms. Streeter, Mr. Bilal, Ms. Flowers, Mr. Brickle, Ms. Stingry, Mrs. Edwards, Ms. Franklin, Ms. Jacobson, Ms. Cobbs, Ms. Montanza, so on and so forth. I can't name all of the teachers. But let me just say this about me. I had an excellent record. I was in the principal's pool. All the kids loved me. All the kids just light up like a Christmas tree everywhere that I worked here in Polk County. I had an excellent record behind me. But guess what? And I want all these people that I just named. You know what the superintendent got on the stand during the administrative hearing and said about me? The superintendent said that he was being proactive. And he believed that he was preventing a Columbine High School and a Conyers, Georgia incident. Oh, can you imagine him saying something like that about you? I just want you to think back and think about that. You guys know me. And he made that, but this was all about stigmatizing me, defaming me. It wasn't no competent fact witness, no way. The school, this law in motion was where they marching these so-called witnesses, just clouding up the litigation, just clouding up the issues. Come on now. It's a joke. All right. You get the gist. And lastly, what I want to tell you, because you got to stay with me. You got to stay tuned. Because Jerry Hill is going to be video number 7. And I'm going to call him Hypocrite Hill. So you got to stay with me. Because, boy, this man is a hypocrite. He's a hypocrite of the century. Oh, I've got his letters. Oh, I got his letters where he was covering up. Oh, but he's so tough on crime. Oh, this man is. Oh, you got to stay tuned. That's all I'm going to say today. So, until then, I'll see you the next time. Bye.